Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for April 23rd through 29th. This week I read 4 books, I watched 2 TV shows, I watched 2 movies, and I listened to 2 podcasts. I am back home, but while I was away, some of the furniture in my apartment moved around, so I'm trying this setup for now. Let me know if you like it. First this week I finished The Borrower by Rebecca McKay. I picked this up at the Public Library in Invermere, BC, because anyone with a public library card in BC can go to any other public library in BC and borrow items. The title seemed fitting given I just wanted to use this special program. This book is about a children's librarian who lives above the theater, feels she isn't having enough adventures, and is particularly worried about a 10-year-old patron who frequents her desk. It seems his parents are making him go to some special weekend workshop with a disreputable pastor who says that being gay is a choice and not how you're born. Imagine her surprise when this young patron essentially kidnaps her and makes her take a road trip. This book also deals with being the child of immigrant parents and not living up to the family name, even though the family name was changed when her father went to America. This book has a bunch of literary references throughout and was delightful. Second this week, I finished The Great Glowing Coils of the Universe by Joseph Fink and Jeffrey Craner. This is the 2nd season of the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, but in book format, with every episode introduced by the writers, the voice of Night Vale, or one of the guest actors. I picked this one up on release day along with Mostly Void, Partially Stars, and tucked into them both immediately, but this one got tucked away into a pile of books a few chapters from the end. So I retrieved it and finished it in anticipation of It Devours, which is the 2nd Night Vale novel, which comes out October 17th. I've even been to a live show since purchasing this book, and I know that if they keep coming out with volumes like this, I will buy them. The insight into the process of making this remarkably weird project, as well as the illustrations of the plot points throughout the book, just makes my strange, nerdy heart very happy. The 3rd book I finished this week was The Storied Life of A.J. Hickory by Gabriel Zevin. This book was pressed in my hands months ago by a friend I hadn't seen much since university because he knew I'd enjoy it, and he was not wrong. This book switches perspectives fluidly and starts with Amelia, a bookseller from a small publishing house. She's making a sales call to the only shop on a small island and doesn't get the best impression of its owner, A.J. Hickory. As the perspective changes, we find that A.J. has not been having the best of times recently, and as the plot progresses, we find that time actually has an integral part in each character's life, much like you have to pick up a book at the best time for you to get what you need out of it. The plot moves in fantastic ways without a lot of should I or shouldn't I, interior drama, and the pace of the novel is kept up. Throughout, AJ gives literary recommendations at the beginning of each chapter, which tie into the plot. If you are the type of person that likes books about books like I am, this will hold a special place in your heart if you're ready for it. The final book I finished this week was Talking as Fast as I Can, From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between by Lauren Graham. I'm sorry I had to. Lauren is a hilarious writer who had me giggling from the first page. She admits she didn't have everything right, she didn't know it all, but she committed herself to a really tough career and got to be part of some really fun projects along the way. She input her diary entries from the time when she was filming the reboot, and there were so many points that made me so happy for her. And everyone who got to work on something they love so much. I know there are elements of the reboot that people pick apart, which is fair, but I was able to just sit in that moment where people are having fun and creating something that they love. The only downside, besides how short this book was, is I had a problem with the second part of the title, which Google has told me is called a strapline. From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between isn't accurate because we start with Lauren as a child, and I imagine we skipped a lot of what was in between the original and the reboot. But you can't fault a girl for being excited about playing her favorite character again and wanting to include that in the strapline. This week I caught up on Survivor, and as always, I have no idea who has the best chance of winning. The amount of strategy and the ability to guess how other people will judge every move you make baffles me. And I would likely make a terrible contestant because I would just try to be the least frustrated and hope for the best. This week I watched the entire 5th season of Private Practice, and not one disc from the library skipped, so I got to see every minute of it. Yay! The season had a lot happening: relationships on the rock, fetal distress, Addison on her quest to have a baby. There was a crossover with Grey's Anatomy in which I got to see Derek and Lexi again, which was great because I missed them. And I really need the most recent season of Grey's to come onto Netflix because I would really like to see how the Seattle section of this universe is doing. I only have 13 episodes of Private Practice left, and I don't know if that's going to be enough. And the 2 movies I watched this week while hanging out with friends were Step Up and Step Up to the Streets. I am a sucker for a dance movie, but I had no idea they have made 5 of these so far. It was fun to see Channing Tatum so young again because I haven't seen these movies since about the time they were released. This week, as I predicted in my last wrap-up, Mom and I finished the 1st season of Serial. Mom's reaction was, wait, what? We don't get to know any more than that? To be fair, I think that was everyone's reaction, but this is an ongoing investigation, so there is more information about it out there. but I haven't gotten around to it yet. I know there's at least one book about the case at my library, and it is on my carefully curated TBR. However, once Serial was done, we switched over to the new podcast, STown, and holy crap, where do I even start with this one? STown is a 7-episode podcast that came about because Brian Reed received an email from John B. McLemore, who is a man who lives in Alabama, who stated there were 2 cases in his local area that were being covered up. And John wanted Brian's journalistic abilities to uncover the truth. This true crime element was already intriguing, but then you have taped interviews with people like John and other people in his town, and there were honestly so many twists and turns that amazed and shocked me throughout this story. Even if you don't care for true crime as a genre, I feel like getting to know these real people who feel like characters at a time is an experience everyone should have. I really don't want to spoil anything that was uncovered, but once you have listened to it, let me know your impressions. That's it for this week. In the comments down below, let me know about your strange travel habits, as mine is going to the library and visiting it. On the way down in the comment section, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you next week. Bye!